Air transportation is an exciting and dynamic business. It's an important part of our national economy and way of life. A successful aviation industry is based upon the efficient and successful movement of passengers and cargo to cities around the world. The financial strength and growth of airports, air carriers, and related businesses rely on how many people fly. The bottom line is, without passengers and cargo, we don't have jobs.
All of us who work at the airport take great pride in the facilities and the service we provide our customers. We also understand the importance of the airport to our community.
Recent acts of terrorism have highlighted what most of us have known instinctively, but may not have really focused on. Without effective aviation security, passengers will not fly.
September 11th was not only a reminder of the physical devastation that terrorists can inflict, but also the psychological impacts that can have on the flying public. For the first time in history, our country's airspace was closed for 3 days.
Security has taken on a new meaning as the aviation industry meets new requirements. You and I have become an even more important part of the national aviation security system.
Like fire drills, good security practice must become routine. Good security action must be followed automatically. Everyone's commitment is important, and together we can make this airport one of the safest and most secure.
The airport's airside is a secured area and requires that individuals who enter this area possess and continually display airport-issued ID badges or other approved forms of identification. Vehicles operating here must be airport authorized and display the appropriate stickers. Any person or vehicle not displaying an approved identification must be reported immediately. Located on the airside are aircraft parking positions and ramps, which are the most secure area of the airport. It's here where passengers enplane and deplane aircraft, cargo is loaded and unloaded, and aircraft are serviced. The Air Operations Area, or AOA, is the portion of the airport designed and used for landing, taking off, or surface maneuvering of airplanes. Airside areas must be kept secure at all times, and public access is prohibited. A chain-link perimeter fence or other physical barriers surround the AOA, and access is obtained through controlled doors, turnstiles, or gates. Airport police are responsible for day-to-day police protection at the airport. However, they work closely with local police agencies like the city and county, along with TSA, the state police, and FBI.
Law enforcement activities is coordinated through the Airport Police Department or the Department of Public Safety.
To report a security concern or suspicious activity, we simply contact the airport police, or in the event of an emergency, dial 911.
Like law enforcement, airport security is a team effort.
The heart of the team is the employees that work at the airport. And as employees, we all have our own individual responsibilities, but none is more important than security.
And it's not that we have to act like police officers or physically take control of problem situations, but we do have to remain alert.
And use our knowledge of the airport environment around us to notify law enforcement when something or someone is out of place. We should always be aware of the situation surrounding us.
Some of the reasons for this are obvious. Others we have to think about to fully appreciate. For example, nobody is more familiar with the airport's facilities, especially our work areas, than we the employees. If something is out of place or suspicious, we are likely to notice it. But that's not enough. Then we have to do something about it.
We are the airport's eyes and ears. We observe and hear things every day. Some things are rumors, others are facts. Because of our airport knowledge, we can quickly separate facts from fiction.
We are always here. If the airport is open, employees are hard at work.
Security regulations are important, and they not only must be implemented, but also followed. And we can help make that happen.
Perfect security may not exist, but effective security is created by using many layers. The better we understand the threat, the more effective precautions we can take. And the more alert we are, the less vulnerable our airport will be. Let's talk about terrorism. Terror is defined as an intense, overpowering fear. In America, the terrorist threat was clearly defined when civilian aircraft crashed into the World Trade Center buildings in New York, a field in Pennsylvania, and the Pentagon in Washington. Today's terrorists want to cause death and destruction. Their motivation is a mixture of religious beliefs, hatred, and revenge. You need to understand that they are very committed and will stop at nothing. In the past, terrorist groups have been mostly state-sponsored and operated with the command system using strict control. That's not the case anymore. Loosely organized terrorist cells are becoming more common, with more individual goals of destruction. New radical and charismatic leaders, such as Osama bin Laden, are now being followed. Free to do as they want, these tight-knit terror groups are now joining forces with a common goal of attacking the United States. This brings new security challenges to the U.S. intelligence community, the TSA, and the aviation industry. To make things even more difficult, terrorists are starting to work alone or in very small groups, with members gladly sacrificing their own lives in the hope of causing massive casualties. Unlike members of a uniformed military organization, terrorists are not easily recognized. Their goal is to blend in and go unnoticed. They come from many different backgrounds and can't be easily identified. The need to protect civil air transportation is critical and has been declared a national security priority.
Please respond immediately. The airport's management, in partnership with the Transportation Security Administration and local law enforcement, has specifically developed and implemented an overall security plan. New technology and procedures for controlling access, identification, screening, and detection are all part of this plan. Make sure that you know how this plan works when it comes to you and your job.
Effective security is the result of many different layers, and we, the employees of all the companies at our airport, help make up those layers.
There are some basic actions every one of us can take to make this airport safe and secure. Understand your job-related security responsibilities and fulfill them every day. When you go through a secure door or gate, make sure it closes behind you and no one follows you through. Always wear your airport-issued ID badge. Everything you do has a security element to it. Make sure you always check unattended vehicles in restricted areas. Be alert and watchful while performing your job duties. Remember, your knowledge of the airport and your workplace can quickly help you identify suspicious or unusual items, vehicles, and activity. While maintaining your awareness, treat airport users with respect. Courtesy is always appropriate. Clear directions, factual information, and a caring attitude help ease stressful situations for passengers and actually improve security effectiveness. Recognize vulnerabilities. Non-functioning door controls and broken perimeter fencing or vehicle gates are invitations to security breaches. Take time to notice if security doors or gates are not properly closing and let the appropriate airport staff know. Notify officials if you find a damaged or broken security fence. Quickly repairing malfunctions is a simple step in maintaining security. Report to law enforcement any unusual or suspicious activity. You can't assume someone else will report it, nor should you feel embarrassed making the call. In the event of a real threat, time is critical. Hesitation because you are not sure if you should make a report, or if you don't want to notify law enforcement because the situation may not be serious, could be very costly. It's better to stop, evaluate a situation, and take action now than to wait and have to recover from an actual problem later. Please remember, you are only to report unusual or suspicious activity. You should continue to observe and monitor the situation until law enforcement arrives. It is up to law enforcement to determine the seriousness of the activity. Also, always be courteous and non-threatening to those around you while waiting for law enforcement. Security procedures will change as new terrorist threats become known. Don't be afraid to ask questions. If you have a question or think a security procedure doesn't make sense, talk to your supervisor. Airport management regularly meets with tenants to discuss airport security. You should know who to contact within your company if you have an idea to improve security. And finally, be committed to security. Your commitment to a safe and secure airport requires that you understand the potential terrorist threat and that you have both a concern for others and be willing to act. By performing our security responsibilities daily and consciously, we make them become routine. By adding all these actions together, our security practices become more effective. And most importantly, by working together as a team, we make this airport secure.
I'm Kip Hawley, the head of the Transportation Security Administration. As pilots and others involved in the aviation community, we have a responsibility to do everything we can to protect our nation's airports, secure our aircraft, and keep our citizens safe. The Transportation Security Administration and our partners in the federal government are taking many steps to protect our airports and aircraft from terrorists. But I know the government can't do it all, and that is why your participation by serving as the eyes and ears for aviation security throughout the aviation community is crucial. Your role in this effort is essential. You can help keep our airports and skies free.
Airport security is taking personal responsibility to lock your aircraft, close the gate, to watch out for those things that don't look right, to report your suspicions to the toll-free GA Secure hotline or local law enforcement. So what do you watch for? Sometimes it's pretty obvious.
Danbury Police, Sergeant Carter.
Danbury Police? Yeah, hi, my name is Susan Crowley. I'm a pilot. I just landed at the Danbury Airport.
Where are you at the airport?
I'm at the grass tie-down at BAC. Okay, I'm calling to report a suspicious-looking guy who's moving from plane to plane and pulling at the doors.
Describe the suspect, please.
He's Asian. I'd say about 5'9". Got a ponytail.
Clothing description?
Black shirt and jeans. He just moved to another plane, actually.
Any weapons shown?
No, it looks like he's got a screwdriver. Yeah, do you mind sending somebody over to check this out?
Keep an eye on him.
It doesn't feel right.
Okay, you got a call coming in, suspicious person at the airport trying to break into the planes out there.
551.
1 Wibbling Road, Danbury Municipal Airport, on suspicious person. Complainant is Susan Crowley, just landed, stated she saw a subject, 5'9" Asian male with a ponytail, possible late 20s to 30s, jeans and a sweatshirt. Party may have a screwdriver attempting to enter planes on the field.
Put your hands up. Turn around. On your knees. Drop the weapon.
That was pretty simple. If you see an immediate threat to people or property, call 911. Even if you aren't at your home base, call the 911 on your cell phone will get you through to the local police. Watch out for suspicious activity, not people who might look suspicious.
Remember, it's what they're doing that could mean trouble, not what they look like. But let's consider this scenario again. Did he come through a hole in the fence? Report it. An unlocked gate? A push-button lock with the code listed for everyone to see? Tell airport management to fix it. Just remember the hue and cry from the media and the politicians when a drunken former student pilot and 2 teenage buddies stole a 172 from a Connecticut airport. So lock up and look out. Check out any suspicious activity. Report it.
Can I help you? Excuse me. Can I help you? Hey, buddy, come here. Excuse me. Hey, pal. Can I help you?
So I was just looking around at the airplanes.
Well, this is a high aircraft movement area, and you're not supposed to be walking around here unless you're a pilot.
I'm sorry, I didn't know. You know, I've just been interested in becoming a pilot in an airplane for such a long time, and I don't know, I guess I just wanted to come out here and check things out. I'm sorry, I mean, I guess that's why I'm here. I wanted to become a pilot, and I'm really interested in airplanes and, you know, just hanging around looking.
Well, that's great. I mean, I'm a pilot, you know, and we've got a school here, and we've got this great program, Project Pilot. You want to come in and, you know, we can maybe set you up with a lesson?
Go ahead and greet strangers at your airport. It gives your airport the reputation as being a friendly, neighborly place. But friendly doesn't mean no security, just the opposite. People intent on doing bad things want to be left alone. If your airport has the reputation of being a friendly place where everybody knows everyone else, the bad guys will try someplace else. Sometimes what you should watch for is more subtle. You'll have to watch for other clues. Clues like body language that tells you someone is very uncomfortable, or people moving around an aircraft in a way that just isn't normal.
Police, this is Steve Croft. I'm at Frederick Airport at the main ramp. Some suspicious activity is going on here. There's a female pilot, looked like she was just walking on the tarmac just to her plane, and this white male, at least 6'2", he grabbed her. I mean, at least that's what it looked like to me, and he's forcing her to this plane, something isn't right here. Maybe you need to send someone out here to check this out. My name is Steve Croft, yes. Yeah, he's got a brown top, white pants, black shoes, and he has shades on. And he just forced her into this jet. Yeah, send someone out. Something isn't right here.
Don't put yourself at risk. If the situation looks like it might be hostile, call 911. Continue to observe what is going on, but don't try to intervene. Remember the things that will help the authorities identify the suspect. Note height and weight, hair color and clothes. Look for distinguishing marks like scars or tattoos. And don't forget the obvious, the aircraft N number. Make sure law enforcement knows that you are concerned. If it's just that uneasy feeling, it doesn't look right, call the security hotline and explain your concern. But if you think there's an immediate danger, call 911. Airport security is really about being aware. You know what's normal at your airport, who belongs and who doesn't fit in. And we know this about the terrorists. They didn't fit in. Something about them attracted attention. They asked bizarre or inappropriate questions. They pretended to know more than they did. They kept to themselves. They just didn't seem right. Now, in this next scenario, our actors admittedly went a little over the top. But remember, it's what the suspect says and does, not his accent or his appearance, that give the important clues that this just isn't right.
Hey there. Can we help you with something?
Oh, yes. I should like to rent a multi-engine airplane land.
Oh, I think old Jim has one or two of them. He's out in the hangar right now, but he'll be back in a minute.
Are you a pilot?
Oh, yes. I hold many certificates, have many hours. I hold an airline transport pilot.
I bet you've flown one of them Boeing DC-10s.
Please? Oh, I don't think so. But I fly a PA-31 all the time. Is there a PA-31 here?
I don't think you can get one of those here.
Thank you very much.
Have a donut.
Excuse me. Do you know how much fuel it will contain?
Oh, I haven't the slightest idea.
Thank you very much.
Mm-hmm.
You know, something's starting to bother me about that guy.
You mean like he's not a pilot?
No, I don't mean that, but why do you think he'd want to know how much fuel the Navajo would carry?
You know, that kind of bothers me, too. You think we should report this? Hey, did you see what kind of car he was driving?
So the tip-off here wasn't the suspect's accent. It was what he said that our pilots paid attention to. And you should pay attention to everything that's going on around you at the airport. I find myself, since 9/11, paying a lot more attention to what's going on around the airport. I'm taking more notice of security at the FBO or flight school. And I don't complain about that making things a little more difficult for me. We pilots should thank them for making our aircraft more secure. And we should encourage our FBOs to beef up their security with simple things like controlling access to aircraft keys, checking IDs, making sure the person asking for the key is authorized to take the aircraft, or controlling access to the ramp. Remember, the key to airport watch is watching out for those things that don't seem right, like someone other than a security guard checking locks, and then reporting them. Remember, crime happens because of opportunity. To protect yourself and your airport, make access difficult, and make it difficult for people to do things unseen. Criminals and terrorists won't hang around an airport full of people who are alert and aware of what's going on. But there's more to it than keeping a lookout for bad guys. We have to continue to prove to the public that general aviation is an asset, not a threat. You need to do your part. Watch out for suspicious activity at every airport you fly into. Take responsibility for pointing out lax security at your airport. Secure your aircraft like you would your car. The terrorists won't give up. Neither should we.
This training video is intended to be accompanied by a facilitator handout, and viewers should receive a study guide prior to the presentation. For your convenience, these materials can be downloaded free of charge from the Runway Safety Office website.
Hi, I'm Harrison Ford, and on behalf of the Federal Aviation Administration's Runway Safety Office, I encourage you to put safety first. As a licensed pilot, I have a healthy respect for the rules and regulations set forth in the aviation community. Take the time to become familiar with your airport and constantly stay alert to your surroundings. Whether you're piloting an aircraft or a person granted with driving privileges on the airport grounds, play it safe. Think before you act.
The Airport Operations Area, commonly known as the AOA, is a busy environment at any given airport. This is the area on the airport grounds that includes ramps, taxiways, runways, and roadways. Essentially, it consists of everything inside the perimeter fence. Any person driving a vehicle on the AOA is subject to specific operating procedures. Prior to driving on the AOA, one should know and understand the vehicle operating procedures in effect at your airport. There is no room for deviation, as the procedures are to be followed precisely to ensure everyone's safety. From baggage handlers, fuel truck operators, caterers, to maintenance technicians, everyone plays a vital role in the aviation community. In addition to routine airport operations, there may be construction crews, shuttle services, and pedestrian traffic adding to the dynamic activity of the airport. It's obvious that the airport environment can be a hectic one, so safety must be a priority. While airports can be confusing, congested places, there are no acceptable excuses for cutting corners and compromising safety. Regardless of the type of airport vehicle you are driving, you have the same accountability and responsibility as that of a pilot taxiing an aircraft. This video is intended to address general safety concerns that apply to airports with operating airport traffic control towers. However, many of the safety concerns and procedures are also applicable to airports without control towers. It is the responsibility of your airport manager's office to make sure site-specific training is made available. To safely and successfully operate a vehicle properly on airport grounds, a thorough training program is essential. The training you receive should address the importance of teamwork, the avoidance of complacency, and the ability to adopt non-assuming behaviors. Periodic refresher training should also be conducted. It's best to learn from those who are more experienced than you. When driving on the AOA, be patient, observant, and drive slowly. At any point in time while driving on the AOA, you must know your exact location, where you are authorized to move about, and what procedures are necessary to maneuver safely in each area. Many airports have specific rules regarding vehicle operations. If you've not already received a copy of these rules, check with the Airport Operations Office where you work for the specific safety rules for your airport. Let's now examine some safety concerns that apply to driving on any airport operations area. Never drive under any portion of an aircraft or allow the wing of an aircraft to pass over your vehicle. Regardless of the visibility conditions, when driving on an AOA, remember it's easy to get disoriented. Maintain a safe distance when driving around parked or taxiing aircraft. If an aircraft's beacon is flashing, this signals that the engine is about to start or is already running. The aircraft beacon lights can be found on the tail, the top, or bottom of an aircraft. Use extreme caution whenever you see these beacons flashing. Be aware that the force of an aircraft engine's blast can cause significant damage or injury. When driving about on any airport area, don't assume that a pilot can see you. Remember that the field of vision from a cockpit is limited, and it is extremely difficult, if not impossible, for pilots to see you if you are behind the wings or under the nose of the aircraft. Remember that aircraft always have the right-of-way. Whether you are driving on the AOA in the daytime, nighttime, or in poor weather, your vehicle should be properly equipped for safety. This means your vehicle should have appropriate beacons and reflective markings. If you are authorized to operate on runways and taxiways, the vehicle may be required to have proper lighting and a working radio. At the beginning of your workday, be sure to conduct a walk-around inspection of your vehicle to ensure it's in safe operating condition. Equally important among safety concerns is knowing the location of the airport fire station. Be aware of emergency vehicles and yield to them when they are responding to a call. Besides yielding to traffic, pay particular attention to the color and orientation of signs and markings and lights that you see on ramps, runways, and taxiways. They provide vital information, and everyone should know their meanings and abide by them. Please remember that every airport is unique, and not all AOA signs, markings, and lights that you see in this video will be found at your airport. We encourage you to check with your airport manager's office first to find out the specific markings and signs being used at your airport. It's imperative that you commit these symbols to memory so you can protect yourself from being put in a compromising situation. In an unfortunate event of being involved in an accident on the airport grounds, report it immediately to your supervisor. Any accident that involves an aircraft has to be reported so the aircraft is not flown until the damage can be inspected and repaired. Everyone who works on the AOA has the responsibility to be alert to and pick up any foreign object debris, also known as FOD. Such debris can be tracked onto airfield surface areas by vehicles, dropped from vehicles or aircraft, or blown onto the airport premises by wind. FOD can create a hazard during taxiing, takeoff, and landing. Trash or rocks can be extremely dangerous on an AOA as they can get sucked into a jet engine and shred internal parts in seconds. Everyone has the responsibility to make sure the airport area is clean and free of FOD. Up to this point, we've been talking about driving procedures that apply anywhere on the AOA. Now let's look at the specific areas of the AOA. It is divided into two distinct areas, the non-movement area and the movement area. The non-movement area includes aircraft parking areas, loading ramps, and maintenance ramps. When driving in these areas, exercise extreme caution due to the close proximity of the aircraft. Radio contact with air traffic control is normally not required when driving in a non-movement area. Although not typically posted, the speed limit on the ramp is usually 15 miles per hour or less. Never drive behind an aircraft that is being pushed back by a tug or one that is powering back. Stop when directed by an aircraft wing walker or find another safe direction to travel. Non-movement areas are often marked with vehicle lanes. White lines usually designate these lanes. If vehicle lanes are present, you must use them. Some ramps have aircraft taxi lanes too. These lanes are marked by solid yellow lines. Other markings that you might see on a ramp are those markings designating aircraft parking or tie-downs. Be sure to learn about the specific markings on the ramps at your airport. Another AOA surface hazard is fuel spills. Be alert to this and do not drive through a fuel spill. Be aware that the heat generated from a vehicle's catalytic converter can ignite fuel or dry grass. The boundary between the movement and non-movement area may be marked with two yellow lines. One is solid, the other dashed. The solid line is located on the non-movement area side, while the dashed line is located on the movement area side. Unless you have permission or authorization from air traffic control, do not cross the boundary line onto the movement area. If there is no boundary marking present for the non-movement area, you should check with the Airport Operations Office to find out where the actual boundary is located. Now let's concentrate on driving on the movement area, which is a little more challenging. The movement area consists of taxiways, runways, and other designated areas as determined by each airport. To drive a vehicle in this area, you must have authorization from airport management, have permission from air traffic, and monitor your radio at all times. Never enter the movement area unless you meet all three of these requirements. During your training, you may be required to identify on a diagram the runways and taxiways on your airport. It's important to memorize the layout of the airport. Having this information committed to memory can decrease your chances of having an accident. Markings, lights, and signs all have very specific distinctions in the movement area. Runways have white markings, which make them clearly discernible from other pieces of pavement and are identified by numbers. These numbers are located at both ends of the runway. Normally on runways, you will see white edge markings and center lines. Edge lights are typically white. A number of airports have markings to indicate a pad for helicopter landings. Such pads are usually located on or in the proximity of taxiways. Taxiways, on the other hand, are identified by letters and have a solid yellow centerline stripe. Many taxiways have edge markings that are two solid yellow lines running parallel to the center line. If there are taxiway edge lights, they will be blue. If there are taxiway centerline lights, they will be green. You will also see signs and other types of markings on taxiways and runways. When you approach signs with red backgrounds and white numbers, exercise extreme caution. These signs are mandatory hold position signs and are used to inform pilots and vehicle operators that they are approaching a runway. They will be co-located with hold position markings on the pavement. Hold position markings, which are also known as hold lines, are a series of 4 yellow lines, 2 solid and 2 dashed. The solid lines are located on the side of the taxiway where the aircraft or vehicle is expected to stop. You may not cross these lines until you have specific authority from air traffic to do so.
Maintenance 1, proceed across runway 4 at taxiway Echo. Report clear of the runway.
Roger. Maintenance 1, crossing runway 4.
Signs having black backgrounds and yellow letters provide information on your location. These signs tell a pilot or vehicle operator on what runway or taxiway they are currently located. Signs with yellow backgrounds and black letters are guidance signs. They always have arrows that point to the direction of a runway, taxiway, or other destination point on the airport. It is likely that you will see combinations of these signs on most airport facilities. For example, you will normally see a taxiway location sign along with the red mandatory hold position sign. Visor placards may be available for airport vehicles. These placards serve as a quick reference guide to identify airport signs and markings.
Mitsubishi 5-4 Uniform Sierra, Rogers Grand, where we park?
Yes, sir, West Post Office, ready.
Mitsubishi 4 Uniform Sierra, taxi runway 17 right.
17 right.
One of the most important safety aspects of driving on the movement area is communication. When using the radio, make sure you understand messages communicated to you. Use read-back techniques. Repeat or read back your instructions from ATC. If you are unsure of what your controller told you, or if you don't understand an instruction, ask the controller to repeat it by stating, "Say again." A controller would rather repeat or explain something than have a misunderstanding that leads to an accident. So don't assume anything. Stop, think, then ask for assistance.
Taxiway Delta on E progressive to the ramp.
When air traffic control gives you authorization to move on the AOA, and to do so appears unsafe to you, express your concerns to ATC immediately. Even after you receive authorization to proceed, look left and right, as well as up in the air before entering the runway. Aircraft can appear when and where you least expect them. Use correct radio phraseology and procedures when communicating with the air traffic control tower. Refer to your training handout for proper radio phraseology or terms, as well as the official aviation alphabet. Never substitute Citizens Band language or Police 10 codes for the required airport radio phraseology. It is not appropriate. If you don't use the radio frequently, Communicating on it can be a little intimidating. Relax. Everyone has to learn at one time or another. Think about what you're going to say prior to contacting air traffic control. There is also a proper sequence for speaking to an air traffic controller. Before you contact them on the radio, make sure no one else is talking. Then key your mic and state who you are calling and identify yourself by using your vehicle call sign.
Oak City Ground Maintenance Vehicle 1.
Wait for the controller to reply. Realize that it may take a while, especially if they are busy. Be patient. The controller will respond to you.
Maintenance Vehicle 1, Oak City Ground.
Then state your location and your intended destination on the AOA.
Maintenance Vehicle 1 is on the terminal ramp and would like to cross 18 right at Taxiway Bravo and proceed to the VOR.
Once you complete the transmission, wait for the controller's response. At this point, they will either approve or deny your request, or they might issue you some special instructions.
Maintenance Vehicle 1, proceed up to but hold short of runway 18 right.
Always read back any hold short instructions.
Roger, Maintenance 1 will hold short of runway 18 right.
Knowing proper radio procedures while using air traffic phraseology and airport terminology will make you more comfortable when it's your turn to communicate on the radio. Knowing and understanding the proper procedures helps ensure safe and clear communication. If you find yourself in a position where air traffic control has not responded to you for a long period of time, repeat your request to them. Never assume you can proceed on your own after a period of time. You are required to monitor your radio at all times while on the movement area. In the event you lose radio communications with the tower, whether it's day or night, there's a backup communication system in place. Air traffic controllers use a light gun with colored lenses to tell pilots and vehicle drivers what to do. If you lose radio contact, make sure you are off the runway, then turn your vehicle towards the tower and flash your headlights. This signals the controllers that you may need assistance. It may take time for them to respond, especially if the controller's attention is directed toward another part of the airport. Rather than use the light gun signals, the controller may call airport operations to provide you with an escort. Be patient. A failed radio is not an excuse for proceeding without permission. Here are the light gun signals and their meanings. Steady green means it's okay to cross the runway or taxiway. Steady red, stop. Flashing red, move off the runway or taxiway. Flashing white, return to your starting point on the airport. Alternating red and green, proceed with extreme caution. While it may seem like a lot to remember when driving on an airport operations area, remember to use common sense. Think before you act. Become familiar with the layout of your airport. In summary, before you begin driving on an AOA, be sure you know the following: the layout of the airfield, taxiway and runway designations, the purpose and meaning of airfield signs, markings, and lights, your airport's specific AOA rules, the proper radio procedures, frequencies, and phraseology if you operate on the movement area. Once you become familiar with the operating procedures and regulations of driving on an AOA, don't allow yourself to become complacent. When in doubt, ask questions. You can never be too safe. Everyone has responsibility when it comes to safety. For information about your specific airport facility, contact your airport manager's office. For further information on the subject of airport driver vehicle safety, contact the Federal Aviation Administration Regional Airports Division, the Runway Safety Program Office, or visit our website at www.faa.gov/runwaysafety.